evening, afternoon, wherever you're at, depending on what your time zone is. Good afternoon and welcome to Old Ladies Lift Chat. I am one of your hosts, Larnie Mulvey, the Power Lady.
And I'm Chandler Mars, founder and creator of Old Ladies Lift, the website, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group. It's where older women who lift freaking heavy.
So we have one of our amazing members from the Old Ladies Lift Facebook group tonight, Ann Marie Willacker. I'm so glad that she's here. There's so much we have already been talking about offline, and I can't wait to get in the conversation with her. So Ann Marie, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Ann Marie. I live in DeLand, Florida, which, if you're not familiar with the area, is kind of between Orlando and Daytona. So I get all the fun parts of Florida. I've been powerlifting for about 2 years. I powerlifted many years ago. About 4 years ago, I went into a wheelchair full time and have just been rediscovering powerlifting and really just strength sports in general in the last 2 years. I'm also a Highland Games athlete. And I have committed to doing a CrossFit competition in June. So I'm getting into CrossFit.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yes. I was looking at your page. I was doing some research, myself, and I saw that you were doing the Highland Games, Scottish Games, Highland Games. So Highland Games. And I was like, that is so cool. And I was so excited to talk to you because this is something new for me. Like, I've not been able to talk to anybody who's in a wheelchair. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this. So can you tell us a little bit of your history with lifting, first of all?
Yeah, so in my 30s, I started doing lifting heavy. I was very significantly overweight. I was about 350 pounds, and I had tried all of the diets and all of the points and all of those things. And then I decided one day that I really didn't care anymore what I weighed, and I just wanted to be strong. So started doing some research, started lifting heavy. Ultimately, I lost about 150 pounds.
Wow.
At 185 pounds, I was actually in a smaller size than I was when I was 130 pounds in high school. So,
Goodness.
Heavy lifting really was an avenue for me to get healthy, get my weight under control, become active. Towards the end of my 30s, I had an acute autoimmune reaction to fluoroquinolone antibiotics, which really that kind of stopped all of that. My autoimmune reaction attacked my connective tissue, which ultimately has developed into degenerative arthritis in my knees, hips, and spine. And because of that, I use a wheelchair full time now. So 2 years ago, I got really tired of not being able to lift things at work and having to have someone come to open pickle jars and stupid stuff like that. Decided I was going to get back into strength sports, wheelchair be damned. So that's where I'm at now.
So how did you get back into it? I mean, where did you begin?
I began upper body. Upper body's really, a lot of this stuff's really easy to kind of adapt into a seated position. I mean, bench press, that's simple. Yes, you do use your lower body to some extent. Because I'm not actually paralyzed, I can still utilize a lot of the lower body in the bench press. But things like overhead press, military press, clean and press, clean and jerk, those are things that I'm still able to do. I just do them sitting down. Even deadlifts, I do seated. And it was just a little trial and error, a lot of searching on YouTube for other people doing it as well. A lot of just kind of guessing and looking weird in the gym.
So did you go to your previous gym or a new gym that worked with individuals who are in wheelchairs? I mean, did you just show up and say, here I am, I'm going to do this?
I go to my local YMCA. I've actually been lately. I just recently started doing some drop-in at a CrossFit gym. But before that, I went to the YMCA and just kind of always try. I usually try to go during off times when there's not a lot of people there.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have to use equipment in places that you wouldn't normally use equipment. So if I'm deadlifting, I'm using one of the bench press benches.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't deadlift on the deadlift platform because I can't get to the deadlift platform. So I always try to go during off time. So I don't want to be that person that's in someone's way at the gym,
Mhm.
regardless of whether I'm in the wheelchair or not. I try to be a very courteous gym goer. So I try to go during off times. Now that I've been going for a little while, if I want to try something new, I've got a couple people at the gym. I go like, hey, so this is what I want to do. Do you have any thoughts on how I can make that happen with what I have available? There are a couple of the personal trainers there at the gym they're nice and creative, and they don't try to just push me off to doing like lightweight stuff in the corner.
So
So
you must, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chandler.
Well, you must garner a lot of looks in the gym, especially when you're probably doing a heavy deadlift from a chair, so to speak. Has anybody come up to you? Have you inspired anybody to
Yeah,
start lifting?
right.
I'm sure that has to be the case.
Yeah, well, I do get people that will come up to me and tell me, that they've seen me there, and that they're really impressed by what I do, or they're inspired by what I do. I get the flip side too. People come up to me and tell me I shouldn't be doing that, and then I need to be careful, and maybe this is not where you should be. So I get both ends of it. I get the people who are afraid I'm going to hurt myself, and then I get the people who are just impressed that I pick up, I do a 200-pound deadlift. So I get both ends of the spectrum on that one.
Well, I imagine you do. So you said you went into a CrossFit gym here recently. How did that work out?
Yeah, so I committed to doing a CrossFit competition. I've been following CrossFit for a while. CrossFit has a really amazing adaptive community. They have a lot of adaptive, they have an entire adaptive categories, a number of them. So they really kind of embrace the adaptive athletes and that community, which is really great. So I've been following CrossFit for a while, and I recently committed to doing a competition here that's going to be in Daytona in June. So I decided I was going to do the Open. The CrossFit Open is going on right now. And I was like, well, I'm not going to actually compete in the CrossFit Open, but I'm going to follow along with the workouts, because I figure if I'm going to do a CrossFit competition, I should probably figure out what is involved.
Right.
I have, I went recently to a local CrossFit gym to do one of the open workouts that I didn't have the access to the equipment that I needed where I was. At my regular gym, and they're awesome. The CrossFit community is amazing. So
I have found that to be the case too. Yeah. What was the workaround for the burpees on the last open workout?
So it's called a U-turn. So it's essentially your chair comes to a line, and then you come backwards, spin around, and go around to another line. So it's this little they call them U-turns.
Okay.
I've also seen it referred to as helicopters, but that's the change for burpees.
Okay.
And for deadlifts for this 22-2, we did kettlebell lift, 2 kettlebells instead of a bar.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. But you could have done a bar, but yes.
Well, with a bar, you'd have to transfer out of the chair.
Oh, that's true.
So
and you had to stay in the chair so you could do the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually want to go back and do because I do a form of burpees just on my knees. One of these days, I'm going to go back and redo it just to see if there'll be a lot of transition time just from the moving from the bench to the floor, bench to the floor. But I want to try it. I'm going to give it because I evidently really like to torture myself.
Yes, because anybody who wants to attempt burpees is just in any form whatsoever.
Right.
Burpees are just horrible. Nobody over our age should be getting on and off the floor like that.
I know. It's a struggle for me to like get up, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. So my husband did it, because he's been doing the open. My husband had some surgeries last year and had been ill for the entire year, and he was bound and determined to do the open workout. So he's been doing the scaled old man version, and had to do, basically we called it burpee palooza, because the deadlifts were so light for his division for the scaled version that it was all burpees. The entire workout was burpees, because you could pound out the deadlifts. They were 115 pounds for that version, but it was I was very proud of him. And he's like, yeah, come do it with me. I'm like, there is no way, no how I am going to do burpees willingly. Yeah, so good for you for doing it. And so Larnie mentioned in the beginning that you do the Highland Games too. Have you competed in the Highland Games?
Yes,
Wow.
I compete throughout Florida. I actually hold 8 world records for my my division for Highland Games. I always put the asterisk on that. I'm also one of the few women who compete in the Highland Games in the adaptive division. So there's my little asterisk. But yes, there's an organization called Broken Caber that helps set standards for adaptive athletes within the Highland Games. So working with them and helping to set weights and class definitions, things like that, and then make that a standard throughout the Highland Games community is kind of where that is kind of right now. Because right now there's really not a standard worldwide like CrossFit. CrossFit has a standard. They have class categories that are defined. They have what the standard, the RX and the scaled weights are for different exercises. And within the Highland Games community, that's still kind of in process. And this organization called Broken Caber, it has put together proposals and is presenting them to the different federations throughout the world to help worldwide create a standard, much like they have for all the other classes within the Highland Games. So it's exciting to work with them to kind of help set some standards and put some numbers on the board to get people interested in wanting to come and break those records. So
what kind of events do you do? How are the adaptive? How have they rejiggered some of the, like the Kai bar? Is that one with a big pole where they talk?
Caber is the only thing that I do not do.
Okay.
I told if they chop that sucker in half, I might give it a shot. For me, the biggest thing with Caber is I've got no way to get out from underneath of it if I drop it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those things. It's just not. So I do 8. There's 9 categories in American Highland Games, and I do 8 of the 9. The Caber is the one that I do not do, but I do everything else.
What do you like most? The powerlifting, the CrossFit, or the Games?
It's
really tough.
I know so many choices.
I've really fallen in love with CrossFit recently. But they all really overlap into
each other.
Each other. CrossFit definitely has a heavy lifting component. Highland Games, you're doing max lifts. Essentially, you're doing your max effort throws all day long. So with Highland Games, you get 3 tries on each event. It's much like a powerlifting competition. So your best throw counts. So you're doing those 3 max effort exercises. So there's a lot of overlap in all 3 of those. They really do go together very nicely.
I just wonder, now that you're saying that, like, I wonder if like the strongman community has some kind of adaptive.
There are a few throughout the country. Unfortunately not here in Florida. I haven't really had a lot of luck finding any strongman competitions that have an adaptive category. It's definitely one of the things I wanted to do this year was to compete in a strongman competition. I have not found one yet. I'm still working on that.
I just think it's very, I mean, I know here since I've just started doing strongman, it's been hard to get women to sign up. And to add that other component into it, I wonder if there is, more people who would be interested in doing that. So I just think it's very interesting, and I'm glad that we're talking about this, because it just continues to open doors for others to compete and to try things and to see what they can do. And I think that's amazing. So what do you have lined up after the CrossFit competition that you're doing?
I actually don't have anything scheduled for the end of the year. Highland Games season in Florida or in the South tends to start in September, October. So I'm sure there'll be some games coming up in the fall that I'll compete in. But I don't have anything on the books right now after CrossFit. So we're gonna have to see what the schedule comes out.
Well, I think with your strength background, you could do very well in the CrossFit adaptive divisions, because you've had that background for however many years before the injury, and even in the last couple years, that was your foundation as well. So I wish you all the best of luck in that, but I'm excited to see how far you can progress with that. I think that could be really, really fun.
What is your
I'm excited about that.
What are you, is there like international, like I don't know. So are there like international competitions that you'd want to take part in as well?
The games.
Yeah, well, there is actually FIFOR Power Week is in Norway. It's actually happening in June this year. And they have an adaptive Highland category there. And
Wow.
I was invited to go to it. But Norway is just not in the, it's not happening this year.
Traveling at the moment.
Our business, we're expanding our business right now. So the money is simply not there to go to Norway this year.
I can see that. Well, cool. So is there any advice that you'd like to give other athletes, whether they were recently injured and have just come to be in a wheelchair, or they've been in a wheelchair for a much longer time?
I think the biggest advice I would give someone is figure out what your goals are. Because every wheelchair user's reason for being in a chair and experience in the chair, what they have access to from the chair is going to be very different. I think you have to decide what your goals are and put a plan together to achieve that goal. Some wheelchair users' goals are going to be to walk again. And then the steps in order to achieve that are going to be very different. Exactly. From the steps for my goals. My goals was to be able to be a part of my family business again, which requires a lot of heavy lifting. I own a winery, and we specialize in meat. So I lift 60-pound buckets of honey all day long. And 4 years ago, I couldn't do that. So my goals were to be an integral part of my company again. And not have to rely on my kids to come in and do the work, or my husband to come in and do the work, or have a friend stop by to, help me add honey to a fermenter. I didn't want that to be something that I always had to, for the rest of the time, that we had this company, to have to rely on someone else to do. So my goal was to be able to lift heavy things consistently by myself. And so my method of achieving that goal is very different than, say, someone whose goal is to be able to walk again. So you have to figure out what your goals are. And you also have to, I don't want to tell people to not take medical advice, but there's a lot of people out there who will tell you that if you have a disability, that you just can't do certain things.
Right. And I,
and sure, there are things that I'll never be able to do again, and that's fine, and I get it. But to be able to, for me to say that, for someone to say that I'm never going to be able to work on the actual production side of my company again, I didn't accept that. I was like, no, there's got to be a way. There's got to be something. This is the time is the 2020 or 2019 where and there's got to be some way for this to happen. There's got to be. I know a lot of creative people. We're going to figure it out, and we did. And so I think that you have to surround yourself with people who are supportive of your goals and will help you be creative to achieve those goals. And it won't always look like the way everyone else is doing it. I guarantee you when I go into the gym, I do not work out the same way. I may go into the gym and do deadlifts and push-ups and pull-ups, but I guarantee you the way I do them does not look like the way someone else is doing them. And then you've got to be willing to just go out there and do it, and you got to be creative.
I think that is such awesome advice, especially because you know how sometimes we get so scared of other people watching us, and we're like, oh my God, somebody's looking at me, I'm going to do this wrong. And I love that your outlook is, you got to do it, and you got to do it that works for you. And, and I'm so happy that it doesn't hinder you. Like your mindset is not hindered. You're just like, I'm going to do it. I want to get strong as, as I can. And, but it like comes to, you want to get, you don't want the assistance, maybe it's us being stubborn as like strong women. We're just being stubborn. Like, we don't need your help, but oh my gosh. So as we close out, we lost Chandler. She lost her internet. She just sent me a message. She's like, I lost my internet. Sorry. We're so close. We were so close to getting through it without any internet issues. So as we close out our conversation with you, Ann Marie, I know you said, you want people to set their goals, but like, is there anything else that you'd want other women to understand about lifting, about getting through those hard times where you just feel like you don't want to go to the gym? As older women, we're always like, oh my God, today is training day. Like for me, I'm just like, oh my God, it's Wednesday, it's training day. Okay. Like, do you have any advice or ending word, like inspirational words that kind of get people out of that mindset of, I can't do it, but really I can?
I think for me, I have a very busy schedule, so it's very easy to talk myself out of going to the gym. It's very easy to look at my to-do list and go, not today. But what I started doing many, many years ago was the gym became an appointment on my calendar. It goes on my calendar and as an appointment, just like any other appointment that I would have on my calendar. And that is, then it becomes part of my daily schedule. So that to-do list, yeah, it still exists. There's still a lot on it. But this appointment, this time slot has been assigned to the gym. This is my time to go to the gym. For me, what works is to look at it almost as part of my job. It is part of my job to go to the gym. If I don't go to the gym, if I don't maintain and develop new strength, I am not going to be able to do the rest of my job. Therefore, this is part of my job. So that's what works for me, is to make it like that's, a lot of people are like, you should enjoy your workout. I don't always enjoy my workout. We were talking about earlier, who does burpees willingly? But it's a means to an end. Like I go and I lift heavy so I can do the rest of my day. So for me, it becomes part, it's my job. It's on my calendar, on my schedule, just like any other appointment that I would have with a client or with you guys. You guys went on my calendar. It was an appointment. The other piece of advice that I give to people often is that we are not perfect and we are going to make mistakes. And I may have a donut in the morning, but that doesn't mean I have to ruin the rest of my day with that. I like to think of we make decisions in moments. So if I make a bad decision, it doesn't ruin my entire day. It's ruined that moment. I have a new moment now. So we can have those bad moments, but then that moment's gone. And I tried many years ago to get away from the idea of oh, I've ruined this day because I didn't follow my diet plan. Or I ruined this day because I only did half my cardio at the gym. Okay, I that moment I screwed up, but I have a new moment now. So that helped me get away from that kind of that downward spiral of, oh, this day's shot. Who cares? I should just do whatever I want now. So that, to kind of get out of that mindset of, oh, I had a donut at the office when I got to work today. So all bets are off for the rest of the day.
I love how you called it a donut morning. I had a donut morning. I'm gonna start using that. Like, I had a donut morning. Sorry. Well, Ann Marie, oh my goodness, I am so glad that we were able to talk today and ask you some questions and get your insights on your training and how you're kicking butt at CrossFit and competing and things like that. And things do not hold you back. I love that. I think it's very empowering and inspirational. So thank you for hopping on today and talking with Chandler. Secretly is, she's there. But so thank you so much for hopping on Old Ladies Lift Chat with Chandler and I. I usually close out, she closes out, so I'm going to do this by myself. So you guys, thank you again, Ann Marie. Go check out the Old Ladies Lift Chats on the YouTube channel. We are getting set up to have some of the past episodes put on Anchor FM or some other podcast platform. I'm working on it. It's still, I'm still not a very good techie person anyway, but I'm still working on it and trying to get people to be able to listen to the previous podcast episodes. So please check out Old Ladies Lift on YouTube channel and check out all of the awesome other women who have shared their videos and the Old Ladies Lift Chats on there. There'll be some really cool women to follow and just like amaze yourself with the, we are one of those groups that people forget about us because, we're in our 40s, 50s, whatever, but really we're badass women. So if you're a woman over 40 who likes to lift heavy or are interested in lifting, please join the Old Ladies Lift Facebook group. It is a private group for women only. There are some men who still want to come and join the group, and we don't let those men in because it is for Old Ladies Lift. So check out the Facebook page, but also any gear. If you guys are looking for some gear that says Old Ladies Lift and some other designs, go ahead and check that out on oldladieslift.com. So that is it, Ann Marie. Thank you so much for being our guest tonight. It was awesome to talk with you, and I can't wait to see all the things that you're going to do next. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So have a good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.